a lot of context for how I can help you guys out. So if you're not aware, that is the goal, problem, solution format. Gives me a good understanding of where you're at with the goal first of like what you're trying to accomplish, the problem, why you haven't accomplished the goal already, and the solution, so your perspective on what you think that is. And we'll start right at the top with Alaki. The goal is you want to create an effective VSL that converts. Have a couple of clarifying questions for you there on what you're trying to convert on. But the problem is that this is your first time writing the VSL and you're not confident you've nailed the structure, tone, or pacing, worried if it's too clunky or not punchy enough, definitely review it. And then your proposed solution is to review the script to help tighten it up. I also think that another relevant solution might be looking at some of your competitors who are also in the same industry, targeting the same type of audiences, and just understanding what they do in their VSL. I would actually probably start there because I don't know your audience as well as you do, and some of my recommendations on like the choice in words or the specific cadence that you deliver it on could be very different. An example that I'll give is if you're talking to high-level executive like alpha male business professionals, you can say the same words, but you're going to communicate them very differently as opposed to someone who's a breathwork coach. And the two styles of communication are very different. And I think that's going to be a lot more of the changes that you're going to make to your VSL than exactly what you say, but how you say it, the tonality, the cadence. But could you give me just a little bit more color there on the type of VSL that converts, who is the ICP, and for which offer are we going for here? And then also give me a link to what you've got so far.
Okay, so links in the chat as well, just down below a little bit. So this is for all of our recorded trainings. So it's for mental health professionals. So we're just going to offer it out. Like at the moment, we sell them individually, and it's worth $3,000 to get them all individually for up to a month to 3 months. But I'm just going to offer it for $1,200 Aussie. For 12 months access. So to mental health professionals, there's a range of different trainings, trauma, different therapies, neurodiversity, menopause, all of that.
Okay, so you're going for training for mental health professionals, not like placement for those guys.
No, training for them, and it's not training run by me, it's training run by experts from around the world, various trainers.
Sure, okay. And what did you base this script off of?
What Rick told me to do.
Okay. Yeah, Rick's great. Let's see if he did a good job on this one. So opening hook, speak their reality. Yeah, professional development is not negotiable. And how, I don't understand your ICP very well here. How often do the type of clients that would be purchasing this pursue professional development otherwise? Is it like something that they do every single quarter or multiple times a year?
We have to do it. There's certain, we have to meet certain hours every year, but often everyone goes over because it's just not enough with everything we need to learn.
Okay, got it. Then I think that's fine. It's non-negotiable. It's a little redundant because they kind of already know. I would maybe consider leading. Professional development is often expensive, time-consuming, and hard to coordinate. I think those are stronger points. Mm-hmm. And if you're leading a team, multiply all of that. Yeah, if you're a busy business owner, it's way worse for you than just a regular employee. If you don't know who I am, director for Hummingbird Center, it's also a psychologist, so I know what it's like to keep up while staying focused on client care. That's great. Just a personal connection there. And then the all access training pass, hundreds of hours. That's really good. Instant access. Instead of leaning here on this, because this is a benefit to the client that you know about because you know what's on the other side of the training. I would speak to them as if they don't know what's on the other side of the training. Mm-hmm. So access to every webinar and training we've released over the last 5 years. It's like, how many is that? Is that 10 or is that 10,000?
Yeah. And what topics? And yeah, okay.
Give them the benefit of this benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So how many hours of professional development can they cram into a single like week or month going through the all access pass? Mm-hmm. A potential line that I'd replace this with is you'll get access to 12 hours of professional development to be able to just check that box off without the inconvenience of having to go to a massive conference or whatever. This is really great. Benefit of the benefit. As a bonus, 10% off that's great. So as a VSL, I would choose to not drop the price here unless it's also on a checkout page. Is this a checkout page?
Because I've never done it, but I don't really know. I was going to embed this on an email to our email list.
Okay. So they'll be able to pay right away.
They'll then click the MailChimp email and then go to our website and pay. Would you not go into all that there? Again, I've never done this before. I'm kind of trying to copy what I see from you guys.
Are you copying what you see from us or from another company?
Well, more the stuff that you guys talk about. I don't know that I've ever gotten it in an email from you, though. It was just how I was thinking I would get it to them, because I've got a few thousand people on an email list.
I know your email list is great. I do think we should use that.
Yeah.
This isn't how I would go about doing it, and I've never done it like this because I have a high level of confidence that this won't work, is just like sending them a pitch over email to pay for something. It's kind of, I don't think that it's going to get a lot of conversions.
Okay.
What I would try to push them for is, do you have like a sales team or a receptionist that would be able to process these?
I do. What do you mean?
So instead of saying in the email, here, go to this checkout page, it's for $1,200, they're going to be like, let me do this later, or let me think about it later, whatever. Have them actually schedule an appointment with a receptionist. And if it's 15 minutes, maybe it'll be a little bit of a half-hour thing, to where they can understand the benefits of the program or the access that you're selling here, and allow the receptionist to kind of have a little bit more customized marketing for them. So the entire purpose of a sales call versus a checkout page is the checkout page is standard for everyone that goes on it. The sales call is customized for everyone that goes on it. It's a higher level of customization in the sales process, which, depending on what topics they want training on, could be helpful. If someone comes on and just says, I only want neurodiversity training, the receptionist would be able to spend the entire 15 minutes talking about all the neurodiversity trainings and experts that have spoken on that specific topic. If they only care about like trauma training, and that's the only thing this prospect is interested in, with a standard checkout page, trauma is just one of like 20 things listed. They might not think you specialize in that. But if you do have multiple trainings only on that from specialists that deal with that, the receptionist will be able to highlight that specific thing. So it's just more highly customized. I think you'll get a much better conversion rate than going to a standard checkout page. And at this price point, I think it could be worth 15 minutes of someone's time to just screen those applications and give them a little bit of an understanding of like kind of what they're getting into. So a little bit more context around the purchasing decision. That's how we have done it before, which is an email to an application so that you can book a call and get an understanding of like what you're getting yourself into and if it even makes sense.
So where do you put the video?
So, and this is well written as just an email as a whole. But if I was going to send in from my email list, I would do exactly what I do, which is have this first part be kind of the email, and then say, if you want access to this training, click this link below, and then have that link below take them to a VSL like this.
Okay.
Where then in the video, you talk through the entire thing, what's mentioned in the email and what's not, see if you qualify, because you shouldn't be selling this to just everyone. It should be only for mental health professionals that specialize in one of the fields that you have trainings on. You can have them plug in their personal information, some of their business information, and then book a call with your receptionist to have that 15-minute call where they actually diagnose and prescribe and then make sure it's a fit before selling them on the $1,200 thing.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I think 15-minute call, half-hour call should be enough, honestly. It doesn't need to be a very long discovery process at this price point. You just want to make sure that the people that you're selling understand what they're getting themselves into and that they're qualified for it. But otherwise, I don't have any, I'm just like scanning the rest. Yeah, I wouldn't mention the price points.
Okay.
if you just remove this kind of complex thing here, this is something that your receptionist can talk them through. I think giving them an overwhelming amount of detail on price and what the price could be and what the price is, and then like there's a volume discount, it's just really overwhelming unless you have someone there to talk you through it. And then consider simplifying this. So 1,200 for individual access, I think that's fine. Honestly, if you're doing Australian, I think you can charge a little bit more because that's awesome. And then if you're buying for more than 10 people, just give them a single volume discount like this. And then don't worry about any of these ones. If they're a big business, if they have 20 people, if they've got 30 people, they don't need a volume discount. They're fine. Just make it simple so that when your receptionist is on the call or when the person selling is on the call, they have an easier time describing the discount rate. Just simplify that. Otherwise, the rest
all of that on the actual VSL when you said explainables.
Don't explain any of the pricing on the VSL. Give this pricing to the receptionist, but simplify the pricing and make it a little more expensive here if you can. Yeah.
Thank you.
My immediate guess is just 1,700. It's not quite 2,000. It's still in that 1,000 range, but it's an extra 500 per person, which I think is a 40% increase in price for you.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Easy peasy. But do send over that VSL once you've got it filmed. I'd love to like actually review it and just see what that looks like and what that page looks like. Make it simple. Don't overthink it. Just give them a page to go to. But I think that that'll greatly improve your conversions. And you've had amazing conversions through email before, so like this is gonna crush. That's also kind of why I want you to increase the price a little bit more. Is I think that you're gonna make way too many sales if you just keep it at 1,200. Cool. We're going to move on. Christopher Wang, how's it going? The goal is to capture both high ticket revenue as well as customers who can't afford high ticket coaching with a lower paid school subscription. I'm pretty strongly against that as a whole. Unless you're doing $500,000 a month in top line revenue, I don't think splitting your attention with 2 products is worth it. I think that's a common fallacy in the online space, which is like, I've got this training that I do for the big guys, and the training costs me nothing to deliver on. Let me just publish the training as like a video or a video series or a module or whatever, and they can just buy it. And there's no cost associated with that. They're not going to buy the main thing, so they might as well just do the other thing, and it'll just help me recoup some revenue. What actually ends up happening is instead of pushing for the sale for the serious thing, especially if you have sales team, this is terrible if you have sales team, then they just get lazy and they're like, they can't afford the big thing. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to push into the small thing. And then you end up losing a whole bunch of revenue from someone who actually was qualified for the big thing. And then the other thing is like on client support, fulfillment, delivery, you think it's just giving them access for $100 a month. But those clients who can't afford to pay for anything serious or commit to anything big are the worst clients on the back end for the small thing. And you think it's just free access that you're just giving them, and then they're like, they rent a movie or they buy a book, right? And they go through it. Absolutely not. You're going to get tons of support tickets, tons of refund requests, tons of admin work that comes with those. That is like, no matter how much you charge for this, especially at $100 a month, is not worth it. I would say it's worth it once you're at like 500,000 a month. Once you're doing $1 million a month. If you look at the biggest guys in the space, if you look at the Grant Cardones, the Alex Hormozis, the Tony Robbins, yes, they have multiple $1 million per month businesses with the big thing. And then they introduce the small thing, because when they introduce the small thing, it's another $1 million a month in top line revenue collected off the small thing. That is no longer a small thing, that is a big thing. But while you're small and it is a small thing, it's not worth the administrative complexity. I would just go high ticket all the way, one-on-one coaching, very good service delivery, and not worry about the guys that can't afford it right now. Just let them know that they can come back later when they can. That was just my thoughts on the goal, because I feel very strongly about that. I've made that mistake, and I've seen so many of our clients make that mistake, and it just, I just have an incredible amount of evidence to say that that is not the way to go at the start, at least. You say your problem, though, is that many clients want help but can't afford the $2K on high ticket one-on-one coaching. I don't think 2K is high ticket. I think 2K is low ticket. I've got more thoughts here. You mentioned in the course that you don't recommend low ticket offers for people starting out. Absolutely not. I do think that's low ticket. I think you could charge a little bit more. I remember looking at your socials a couple weeks ago and having some thoughts there. But I also reviewed them when you sent them in to the message that my team dropped for the video review. That's going to be fun. You made it in the video. We're going to review it.
Oh, that's
It's going to
awesome.
be great.
Mhm.
I do think that there's opportunity to kind of level up your professionalism in your videos to be able to communicate a more elevated high ticket coaching feel, which I'm sure you can deliver on, is just not well communicated in your content yet. And I've got some thoughts there. They're in the video. I did a whole breakdown for you. It's cool. And then just for context here, your solution is, do you recommend to offer a paid school that's $100 a month in addition to the one-on-one coaching to capture more revenue? Absolutely not. I don't think you're going to capture very much revenue at all. What I would consider, though, to kind of accomplish that goal of like capturing more high ticket people is potentially, how many of the 2Ks have you sold?
I've sold 4 so far, but it's been a slow process in total.
How long have you been selling it?
So I've been selling it since about May of this year. So it's about 2 months.
Okay. I would honestly try to go, how many, can you give me the economics of like how many leads you've had, how many have booked a call, how many have actually purchased? Because I know that we were looking at your funnel last time too, and I had some thoughts there. I don't know if you've made any of those changes yet.
Yeah, I've actually been able to make those changes. Let me actually paste them in down below. I'd love to get them reviewed again, as you mentioned 2 weeks ago. So how it looks like is I'm organic only right now. And then pretty much I have about every 4 leads is able to book or every 4 calls is able to result in 1 sale. So conversion rate is about 20-25%. And yeah, that's the landing page. So my VSL is currently being edited. As soon as that's done editing, it'll show up right below the headline at the top of the page. And I've also pasted the script of the VSL in the chat message. So I've actually modeled this after your viral coach landing page. I don't have that many testimonials right now. I'm still building that up, but I'll add to that, including video testimonials as soon as I get after getting results for clients, which is already happening.
Cool. Okay. I do like this. There are a couple of immediate thoughts that I have. This is fine. Are you prepared to invest financially in solving this? This question is poorly worded. I would look at how other competitors in your niche specifically are handling the budget complaint. I have a hypothesis just off the top of my head that I'll recommend right now, but I want you to go and do some research. This is going to be very important. This question right here is absolutely losing you tons of appointments. It's losing you tons of sales, and you're having way too much friction in the funnel with this question. Because one, you are dropping price. This is irrelevant right now. You don't even know if you can help them, and you're telling them exactly how much it costs to help them. Like, how would you know? Maybe they require something more than that. Maybe they aren't qualified for the 2K thing. Like, it doesn't really make sense. The immediate way that I would change how you pitch this is, yes, I have cash or credit available to improve my dating life. Or no, I'm completely flat out broke and would prefer a free solution. AB, I think that's how I test it, but look at your competitors. There are literally dozens of like dating coach offers or personal development offers that are doing $1 million+ a month, and they've got it figured out. I don't have it figured out. I've never ran that offer before, but I can just tell straight off the rip, dropping price here is not helping you at all. I would be surprised, like, how do you have someone answer, yes, I'm ready to invest 2K to fix this, get on a call and say, no, I actually don't. It's like, why do you only have a 20% close rate if this is the question that's always been there?
Yeah, so I actually don't allow them to book a call if they answer anything else other than I'm ready to invest 2K. And some of them just select the other options just about book a call.
Oh, so these ones don't allow them to book a call.
Exactly.
Perfect. But how are they selecting, yes, I'm ready to invest 2K? How are they saying they are ready? And then they book a call and then they're not ready. Like, how do you not close 100% of the people that get on a call?
Yeah, so they're booking a call just to, I guess, talk to me
Yeah.
about. So they were never willing to invest money in the first place.
I think, yeah, I think that question is a little too forward. I would look at how other people are running it in your industry, and then model it after them. But I'm like 100% sure that this question is losing you a lot of business. That being said, I do think without that question, you could probably raise prices. I think you can go from 2K to 3K overnight, like instantly. You should do that, especially if you have a one-on-one. If you're spending any of your own time doing this, you should charge appropriately for it. That being said, when you raise prices, you are going to get fewer conversions unless you change something else. So I have a two-step change recommended here. So one is increase prices. The two is offer a payment plan. How long is your program length, or how long do you work with them one-on-one for?
Yeah, I work with them over 8 sessions. They're typically about once per week.
Okay, so 2 months.
Exactly. Hmm.
I would recommend extending this out to 3 months if possible,
Hmm.
and just having a 2-pay option available. So 1,500 today, 1,500 in 30 days. I wouldn't recommend a 3-pay, which is 1,000 per month, because then it just extends how long it takes you to get paid by what I think is a little too much. It's not industry standard. This is simply from like reviewing a lot of offers like this, knowing loosely about the dating space, probably not as much as you do, but I know a lot of guys offer 2-pays. I know a lot of guys have 3-month or 6-month programs, and they're all charging way more than you. Like 2,000 is way too little. So 3K with a 2-pay option if they want, 1,500 and 1,500, I think is great. Only drop that if they say they can't do the 3K pay in full, and just isolate. So if they're on the call, they say, oh, I just don't have 3K. Okay, well, are you sure this is worth it? Yes. Okay, how much do you have available? And I'm like, I've got 2,000 right now. If it was 2,000, I would definitely do it. Totally get it. Let's do 1,500 right now. We can do the other 1,500 in 30 days. That way we can get you started. We can make some progress on this. And then, I'll just handle the financing in-house. It's not going to be at any extra charge. That would allow you a very easy way to both kind of make more revenue, capture more revenue, as you said the goal was, as well as be able to service customers who can't afford the entire program as a whole at 2K. Because even for those guys, you are technically making it cheaper on the front end by going from 2,000 entry point to 1,500 entry point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Cool. Let me pull up your VSL here really quick here too. And this was modeled after ours, right?
Yeah, so I watched your I think your training material in the course about I think the $1 million funnel. I modeled it over the format that you gave in that, where I explain the system, give a CTA, quick CTA at the beginning, explain more, give testimonials, and give the full CTA at the end. And then yeah, I did take inspiration from your VSL for this program.
Okay, cool. I love that. I know ours works in the B2B space. I don't know my confidence level in it working in the B2C or in the dating space. I would love for you to review like 3 other offers that are currently crushing it in the self-improvement or in the dating offer space, and just kind of go through those and understand what the commonalities between 3 other programs that you're competing with are. And then maybe take some elements from mine, because I know it works in our industry, but I think your industry is different enough that you should be looking at competitors in your industry. And then if you bring some of those over to me, I'll be able to kind of help you out with the best practices in the industry, specifically as like selling coaching or consulting services online. Like I was able to say with like, dropping the price in the application is a big no-no. I just don't think that's serving you. But I think you know so much more about your space than I do. And I think looking at some of your competitors who are well more versed than both of us combined, because they've tested through millions of dollars of ad spend and leads through their funnels, I think they're going to know even better. And I would love to see some of those incorporated instead of just my material here, which is, crafted towards a different audience. So the building blocks are there, but I would love for you to get really specific and to have a deeper awareness of kind of what the competitors in a specific industry are doing right now.
Okay, sounds good. I'll go ahead and do that.
Awesome. But no need to wait for that until next week. If you just drop that for me in the community, if you can do that today or tomorrow, I would love to turn that around really quick so that you can just edit that and have a VSL video on that landing page. I think that'll help a lot too.
Okay, yeah. So pretty much, yeah, go ahead. I'll find 3 VSLs for you and then drop that in. All right.
Find VSLs, review them yourself, combine them into like one master VSL for yourself, and then drop that for me.
Okay, got it.
Yes, because I think that the big concerns my team had, we reviewed this for that YouTube video that you submitted on, is like, unless they're super warm and they already know, like, and trust you and they love you from your content, which I do think, like, yes, you get some of those people because you have made some sales. I think it's really hard for them to know what they're getting into. Like, no text, there's no slideshow, there's very little text. There's no slideshow, there's no video explaining like what exactly they're gonna get other than this headline. And I think they would love to see a bit more of an example of what they're committing to on this call or what potential outcomes they can get on this call. You did better by dropping testimonials and results here, but I think it would be so much better with a VSL. Like, I think that is so urgent for you.
Yeah, my VSL is currently being edited. I'll upload that to the page as soon as it's done.
Okay.
And then in the meantime, yeah, I will go ahead and create another VSL script according to your recommendation.
Yeah, and then we could split test them. Like, don't feel like you have to abandon the one that's currently being edited. That could be good. I just think that you probably could get way more specific with your industry after looking at a few competitors.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, cool.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, Johan. How's it going? It's been a while. I know you hopped on the other week, but you had to drop out super quick. So happy to answer what you got going on today. You wanted to launch your personal brand. You need to clean your account and draft your bio. Okay. The problem is you're not sure how to
I am basically, sorry, Daniel, I'm just basically rejoining again, basically,
Okay.
right? I'm just, yeah, next steps and I'll hit it.
So the current offer caters to realtors and your personal brand should be something different. Why do you think it should be something different?
I don't know, maybe because the business caters specific services, which is listing media. And I think I don't know how to connect that and my personal brand per se. Maybe is a question probably that I might need answers from you.
Okay, well, tell me about the goal that you have for the personal brand then.
For now, I just want to establish authority. I don't want to create a course. I don't want to sell anything. I just want to make content that makes me like industry leader in what I do, but also as a photographer. So whenever I do my call outreach on the business side, they would know who I am, and immediately would say, okay, I'm going to do business with these guys.
If that's the case, I don't think that you should do a new account. I don't think that you should do a new personal brand. I think if you're trying to establish yourself in the authority as the authority in the space, you should continue to lean on the authority you've already established and use that as like your case study, your testimonial. So don't do something completely divergent, completely new, and make it difficult on yourself starting from scratch. Lean on what's already successful for you, catering to realtors, and talk from that experience. Unless you have a specific goal that is very divergent from that industry, I wouldn't change industries. I think it's just going to make it harder for yourself starting from scratch.
Okay, so let me see if I get this right. So what you're saying is keep working on your niche listing media,
Yep.
which is helping realtors, make content around that, right?
Yep.
And don't think about creating a second account. Just use the business account into that. Right now, I grew my business account and I was treating it independently from my account. So,
I would just show up more on the business account because you do show up a little on the business account already. I would just incorporate yourself more in that content.
But I remember the last year when we talked, you said you don't need talking heads. You don't need any of that. So
You don't need it, but I do think if you wanted to be more involved in the personal brand, that's what it would look like. So it's not essential that you are the talking head in all of your content, but if you are trying to establish your brand, what's easier, starting from scratch in a completely new industry with no testimonials or case studies, or slowly introducing yourself more into the content that's already working for you?
okay, I don't think I have a content that is working. I just post portfolio stuff. So people, when I outreach them, they will see and I send this stuff from there. So I'm doing very zero marketing in
Mm.
terms of content making. Make sense?
I think I'd really want to understand what the GPS here is. What is the goal? What is the problem? And what do you think is the solution? You kind of gave me a situation, but I don't think you understand the goal enough yourself yet. If you're just trying to establish yourself as an expert, you would want to use the content where you're showing off the homes, where you're showing off the media, because that is your expertise. You wouldn't want those to be separate
Oh,
unless you had another goal in mind. But if the goal is just expertise in your industry, why not show off your industry?
and talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll come next week on the next class, the next meeting with a solid GPS, and I'll try to rewatch everything again. But I need to put more for now that I have more room. I have more bandwidth, basically.
Okay. And definitely no need to wait either. Like I can work with you just in the community. If you drop that GPS for me in the community, I can also have some of my team step in and offer a couple of suggestions. I think what you're really missing is like a clear outcome, like a very clear goal of what you want this to look like. And maybe my team might have some suggestions on who does this really well. For example, I can't think of his name. I'm sure my team has it, but there are a couple of people who are in the mortgage space, slightly unrelated, and they were
Yeah.
previously talking about homes. And I know that there have been a couple that are realtors as well, and they were previously only showing off their homes, but they've slowly incorporated themselves into their content, which it sounds like you can do. And I just wanted to show you kind of the execution on what that looks like, and just have you decide on like, do you like how this guy does it or how that guy does it? And then we can get very tactical on what the actual implementation of that looks like. But I think having the goal in place first will help us really understand what needs to get done to get there. And that sounds kind of where you're getting stuck right now, is like you don't know exactly what it needs to look like.
No, I really don't know. I was focused on just establishing the business. Everything is going well. And now I think I could amplify my inbound of clients just by, being here. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
let me think
But
about it and write something.
that'd be great. That'd be great. But definitely no reason to wait until next week. I'd love to help you get moving on this sooner rather than later.
Thank you, man. I'm happy to be back, to be honest.
Awesome. Glad to have you back. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Eric is next. Similar question to Johan. Just joined about 50% of the way through the masterclass. A little confused on what my offer is. I think you've got it really clearly laid out. You're a construction company, do remodeling jobs from 30 to 300K. I'm curious to know what the question is beyond the offer, because it sounds like you've got already a very successful business, and you're very clear about how you bring value to your clients.
Mhm. Well, I think it's more like we had a strategy that kind of worked well with like doing kind of funny construction stuff. It's construction's like really serious. So we had a content creator a strategist who came in and helped us with like, making these funny videos. One of them ended up going viral. And this is in 2023, and I went from like 2,000 followers to like 30,000 followers on Instagram and 100 on TikTok, with this like looking busy video with this subcontractor guy who was very endearing. But when he disappeared, so did basically, the success of the campaign. And then we tried to do it. My wife came in, and it was me and her, and we've tried to do that, but we haven't had the same kind of success at all. So now I'm, was with him for like 6 months, and it's just like, about 1,000 views, something like that. And I'm just thinking that this strategy is probably not working. So I've joined your course and I'm looking at it and I'm seeing, okay, with that plumbing guy or whatever, he's not really selling plumbing, he's selling a plumbing course. And so I don't know if that talking head thing is really going to be, and I don't mind doing some of that talking head, but we definitely still need to be like on site, showing the before, showing the after, that kind of thing, trickling it in. So that's
Yeah,
I'm
I see
confused.
what you're saying. Is it sounds like there's some misalignment from our standard best practices that we have everyone do and kind of your industry. I do think that there's a gap there that we can bridge, but I do think it's going to require a little bit more one-on-one together, and I would love my team to come in and kind of help support that a little bit more. So I'll give you very tactically what I think I should do, what we think we should do, and then I'll give you strategically of like how we're going to get there. So tactically first, I absolutely know without a doubt we can crush in the construction space because we have done it before. What that usually looks like and how it can be like a professional talking head is talking about before and afters, or talking about best practices, or talking about what clients often get wrong. We just had a dentist this morning actually blow up, and we'll do a case study on him soon, but he was talking about celebrity smiles, and he just like pulls up a picture of a celebrity, I think it was Billie Eilish, and reviews whether the smile was real or fake. And that demonstration between the real versus fake was enough to kind of convey his professionalism. He's on camera in his studio, and then we are just using a piece of media that otherwise exists. So you could review a kitchen and say, here's how they messed up this remodeling job. It's very simple. It's completely closed off. This is opposite from best practices. You've got the dishwasher way too far from like where the plates go, or something, or like there's a sink in the island, never do a sink in the island. And you can talk through that without having to like be out and about and do silly skits. You can still be a professional. You can sit right at your desk where you are right now with your phone and just have that image on screen and you'll be fine. That's tactically like what we can do. And I know that works because I see it like every single month, one of our clients doing that exact format. That being said, strategically, how we get there. I would love if you just kind of ask for a little bit of help in the community and just show us your page, show us what has worked before, and just ask for help for like a recommendation of how you would go about going from the like this, what it sounds like sillier style of content that was getting you views before to it sounds like a more professional style of content, which you're hoping to pursue now, and it's probably more realistic because the silly stuff isn't working for you anymore, and it's maybe not your personality or not aligned with kind of what you're able to produce right now. And just like, you know, hearing you talk about it, I don't think that the silly stuff is going to be getting you as many jobs as the professional stuff either. Generally, when we've tested with clients, comedy, humor, lightheartedness, it is good to get views and top of funnel results. It's not good at all for getting bottom of funnel results, which is more remodeling jobs, which is probably what you're after with the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple ideas that I have, especially around like profit margins and the misconceptions. I mean, people think that general contractors are making 20%. And that is just like the most, like, how do you run a business where you're making 20% gross margins? I've never heard of a, you know, even you say with your content, you're like, you better be making 50%, like right in the beginning. You're like, if you're not making 50% gross margins, just leave because you're gonna fail. And a lot of people think that GCs make 20% gross margins. They don't understand that that's their net profit, not their gross profit, their net profit. They need to be making 50% gross margins. So they have, you know, their overhead and profit and whatever. And that was just like one idea. Okay, maybe I could talk about it. But then again, there's all these like industry secrets.
That's a great video. That's great.
Yeah.
Like that in itself, just like put that on video, throw it up on socials, you'll be great. I love that.
Okay.
And it's presenting you as an honest professional. Like as a client, I would love that type of transparency to just know that like you know your business, you know what you're doing. You've been in the space long enough to understand the economic impact of any kind of like pricing decisions, and you're willing to talk about it openly. Yes, you will get some trolls in the comments that are like, oh, this is too expensive. My buddy down the street can do it for, you know, 5% profit margins. whatever, those guys are never going to be your clients anyways. But for the people that respect you as a professional, they're going to love that.
Mm-hmm. So segueing into some talking head, some before and after, and then maybe some silly content to kind of, and then is that like, what's a strategy to go from where we've been for the last 2 years to where we're going to go?
That's what we need to work through. That's what I want my team to have a lot of insight on, and just like powwow and understand what has worked for you before. So dropping a couple of those posts that you thought were successful, and we can demonstrate, we can give you a couple of examples of what should happen next based on what we've seen historically with other clients. So I gave you a couple off the top of my head, but I'd love to just like actually show you the videos so you can see the exact execution of that. But it sounds like you're on the right track. The little example that you gave me there is spot on.
Okay. And I've been told I have to watch the video, so I'm like going in hard.
It would be helpful, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm watching the videos and then I get a coach or something, because I just literally joined like 2 days ago. I don't really understand.
Have you had your onboarding call yet?
I did, but I didn't really understand, exactly. It just, there was just, so I'm in there.
Who did you have it with? Do you remember the name of the person?
Rav, I think.
Okay, Rav.
And
let me just ping Rav right now, and I'll have him double back and like give you just a little bit more time to talk through next steps.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. One sec. Done. He'll be reaching out shortly.
Okay, cool. I'm really excited about this program, and I think that, there could be some case studies if we're able to get there. There's some cool things where I got casted for a Hulu show coming up, so there's other like
awesome.
Yeah, so there's other ways to, like, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna wait for promotions on that, but we were on HGTV and we didn't even get that much there, so it's like, yeah.
We've had at least 3 clients come to us after HGTV. Don't rely on HGTV. What we can do here is going to be way better than what you can do with HGTV, because they like control the outcome. They control how many videos they do. They control like when you're renewed, when you're not. All of this stuff is in-house. You own it. Once we can help you figure out exactly what that looks like, you are in the driver's seat. You fully determine how much content goes out or doesn't, and how that influences your business, whether you're top of funnel making funny stuff, or whether you're bottom of funnel seeing the stuff that actually gets you business results.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'm excited for you. Rob will be reaching out soon, and the rest of my team is also on it. I just pinged the whole channel that we have internal, so you'll probably be hearing from Nicholas and a couple of people as well. But yes, I would love Rob to tell you, just like I'm telling you, to like drop a post in the community of like where you're kind of at right now, and a little bit of this conversation of why you're struggling on the type of content, and maybe make a few recommendations on what you think that should look like, and we'll just all jump on it and give you the straight and narrow of what we've seen work before in your industry.
Okay, cool. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay, next up I think is Julius. Julius, first time?
Yeah, first time, first call.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
I just wanted to say I've been following you for a while since you were doing like your tax advice stuff, so I get to talk to you now, which is crazy.
Long term. Yeah, nice to see you. Thanks for sticking around. Appreciate that. So the concept we've got here is that you're new to the program, being a creator in general. The question is a logistical question. So on the front end, coaching, coursing. On the back end, white glove service. Okay. The goal is you have to have a way to sell and deliver the promise. The problem is you don't have enough time in the day to put in the hours in the course and give the respect you deserve. Do we think you should run through the Borrow Coach at the same time as I build out my delivery system? And you're proposed to just finish the delivery. Give me a little bit more context here. I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah. So right now I'm building out the course. I'm doing the funnels, the upsells, downsells, all that stuff. I have knowledge in the advertising space, and I've worked with landscapers before. My biggest success came from landscapers. That's why I'm diving deep in that. I'm kind of niching down to landscapers. My problem is that I feel like I don't have enough time in the day because I work my 9 to 5. I have a kid right as of right now. Oh, well, I mean, for a while, up until he was 18. But I feel like I don't have enough time in the day to do both the delivery, like doing the delivery side of things, as well as like going through the viral coaching uh, um, stuff. And I just feel pinched. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm not giving it enough respect that it deserves. Like I can't go all in on it. Um,
Okay.
I was thinking maybe like, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, talk me through what the actual desired outcome is.
I want to have a built out system before I run traffic to it, so I
Okay.
don't have to fumble around later down the line when I'm building and making content and um, too many hats to wear. You know.
Okay. I think your goal should be something different. I think instead of building out a complex system, I think your goal should just be money. Can we agree on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet. And I know it sounds stupid simple, but like if you're just doing this for the money, totally respect that, man. That's why I do almost everything as well.
Okay.
We're in business to make money. That's how most businesses run. And the ones that say they're non-for-profit, they do it to make money so that they can give it away, which is totally cool too. I don't think you need very complex systems to make money on social media. And that's kind of the core of the argument that I have with this here is it sounds like what you're doing and trying to build out is way more complex. And I totally understand that that's maybe why I totally understand why you maybe think that as a data engineer. Like you're probably used to working on like really sophisticated systems and processes for enterprise companies, right? It's
Mhm.
not like a small business thing. In the small business space, when you're just selling your time, when you're just selling your consulting, you can do that with very little back end stuff. Could you give me a brief overview on who exactly you help beyond just landscape design and build contractors, but like more so how you help them?
Okay. So a lot of landscapers, they don't know how to actually run Google Ads or get more customers through the internet.
Okay.
And I help them by creating a system for themselves, so they don't have to rely on HomeAdvisor, they don't have to rely on third-party companies or other lead generators out there, so they can build it in-house. So I guess to be more specific, landscapers that are not doing big numbers, people that are bootstrapped and strapped for cash
Okay.
in that way. Yeah.
How many of these clients have you helped in the past?
I've worked with a few contractors before, but the biggest one is a landscaper. Um, it's not that many, so I can probably count them in one hand. But the reason why I went to landscaping is because I built this whole sophisticated thing, and I told them, hey, I'm getting out of the advertising business, and I told them, hey, if you want everything that I built, just you can have it for $5,000. And she said yes, and I'm like, oh, shit, okay. Then I have to like transfer everything. That was a different thing, but I got shiny object syndrome, and now I'm coming back to the advertising space. So yeah, that's the story behind that.
Okay. I think that's a great industry. I think that's a great niche. Landscaping contractors, that makes a lot of sense. What kind of programs or like coaching, consulting are you hoping to build out? I would like to understand the entire scope of what you're trying to build so I can
Yeah.
help you narrow down on just one thing to start with so that you can start making money, which is the goal immediately and not have to worry about doing this whole complex thing.
Yeah, I want them to build their own system of lead generation. So Google Ads, reviews, and SEO, and maybe in the back end for them. But the main three things, the main front end thing is Google Ads.
Yeah. And then how are you considering delivering on all that? It sounded like it's upsells, downsells, courses,
Yeah.
lead magnets.
The front end would be just the course. So I'm treating my front end as a lead magnet, just as a course. But I plan on after I have some kind of community behind it, and for people that wants to have the white glove service, I would do all the stuff that I've shown throughout the course. And since they already have the blueprint, they know exactly what I'm working on. That was the idea.
Okay. And then what are the different price points for everything that you're hoping to do?
So the front end would be just $27. It would just be super cheap, so I can get as many people as possible. But on the back end, I would probably charge $5,000 for just to start out, just because I had somebody that paid me $5,000 in the dashboard.
Sure. Yeah, I think the fact that you've had someone pay you $5,000 is a great reason to charge $5,000. Is that $5,000 for 6 months? Is that $5,000 for just the build out, and then there's an additional for running the Google Ads? Is it $5,000 to just show them one time what to do, and then they have to do it?
Yeah, I was planning on just doing the build out for them, but then they have to obviously pay for the advertising itself, and that if they want me to do the SEO consistently, of course they need to pay me like maybe 6 months, 12 months down the line, like small fee, of course, but
how
yeah.
How often do you get SEO requests or customers coming to you asking for SEO?
Not a lot, just because I don't think I'm well known that much yet.
Let me rephrase that question then. How often do the customers you talk to or the prospects you talk to specifically ask about SEO? Like when you mention Google Ads, they're like, would love some ads, would love some leads. Hey, by the way, can you also do SEO for us? How often does that, how often do they ask you about SEO?
They don't. The main problem is more like I just want leads, and a lot of them complain about how Home Advisor shares their leads, and sometimes the customers don't even talk to them, and they still get charged by Home Advisor because of the way their model is. So I think that's the pain point that I want them to get out of. Yeah. And sometimes also, most of them really rely heavily on referrals, and we know the referrals can dry up sometimes, and it's very inconsistent. So that's also another pain point.
Okay, I love that. I have a couple of thoughts. One, just in my understanding of contractors, I used to do accounting actually for commercial contractors, and it was largely government projects, but they also did some residential, some small commercial stuff. Yeah. None of the contractors that I've worked with professionally would do a $20 course. They would just think like, it's not worth my time as a business owner to do whatever's in this course that I'm only being charged $20 for. Now a $20,000 Grant Cardone course / conference, we would do that. And the main difference isn't what's inside the course, it's what it's priced at, and what they perceive on the outside is inside the course. $20, I just don't think you're going to get great conversions with that. Unless you show me evidence of another person in your niche doing really well with a $20 course that's not Grant Cardone, I wouldn't go the $20 course route. I would do what's already been successful for you. $5,000, 100% agree with that. You have evidence that that works. It was a great price point for you, and it sounds like it's very scalable for you. $20 course, I would advise against that. I just don't think that's aligned with your ICP. I don't think that your demographic of customers is going to really jump on that as much as they're going to need to for it to be worth your time to get out.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, you're saying I should just go straight to high ticket?
Straight to high ticket. One thing, one product for one type of person. That'll get you to $100,000 a month, easy. Way easier. I mean, by contrast, way easier than doing the $20 thing and the upsell and the downsell. None of that. Just go $5K per month. And that $5K per month can do all of the SEO. It can do all of the Google ads, not the ad spend, but just like the management, and it can get them away from Home Advisor. I probably wouldn't pitch the SEO if they don't ask for it. Don't say anything about it. Just do it on the back end for them, because it will improve results. It will help them, but it's not a strong selling point. And I specifically have problems with SEOs because we, like internal in-house, just killed an SEO company that was like one of our competitors. Took one of their best sales
Mhm.
reps, put him in our company. He's making way more with us. We left that other company, and this other company is like probably going to be bankrupt in about a month, and in about a year and a half, just because SEO is on the downtrend. People, it's less trendy. People aren't interested in it. It's been around long enough to where it's like commoditized, and everyone does SEO. I don't think it's a strong selling point.
Right.
What I do think is a strong selling point is getting them clients and having them move away from reliance on HomeAdvisor. That's how I would pitch it. And I would do 5K per month, all in, and just see who bites on that. I think that, yeah, AI is using SEO too. People are using ChatGPT instead of Google things. And you could do, what is it called? Like AI optimized, like targeting. I forgot there's a certain 3-letter acronym for that. And maybe you sell them on
Mhm.
that. They get recommended by ChatGPT or Claude or whoever if they search for a specific type of landscaping in their locale.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's tons of companies that crush with just a fixed monthly retainer. It doesn't even have to be 5K. You can start at 3K or 4K if you're a little scared of that price point, depending on who your
Yeah.
demographic is and what prices they're already paying for HomeAdvisor. But I would absolutely
Right.
figure out what they're paying HomeAdvisor and just leverage on that. Like if you're paying HomeAdvisor $6,000 a month, this will be $1,000 a month cheaper, and you're not reliant on them, and will probably get you more
Right.
leads.
Right. You mentioned five grand per month. That was my price point on that was it was a one-time pay.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're paying that much for advertising, at least the people that I've talked to. Um, yeah, that last client that I had, she was paying for it was 1,200, I believe. It was 1,250 per month. While I was running everything, and then I told her, hey, I'm gonna get out of this business. Just pay me 5 grand for the things that I built you, and that's what happened. Yeah, she gave me 5 grand for everything.
Would you have
That I
any
built.
problem with charging $1,250 per month for a retainer
No,
client, and setting up their Google ads and letting them run?
no, not at all. That's I've done that before.
Yeah, it sounds like you have experience with that. That sounds way easier than this massive build out for like a $20 course that I don't think anyone's going to buy.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
think your ICP, like your target demographic, based on how you've explained it so far, is only going to be interested in
okay.
completely done for you. They're not going to want to learn stuff. They're definitely not going to want to watch a $20 course. They just want it handled. They want what they're getting with what they wanted to get with HomeAdvisor, which is I pay HomeAdvisor,
Yeah.
I get leads. That's what they're going to want from you. I pay Julius, Julius gets me leads, or Julius uses Google to get me leads, and they're completely hands off. They just want to do landscaping stuff, especially if they're small business owners. They
Right.
don't want to learn ads.
Damn. Okay. Well, damn. I'm like midway of doing everything. That kind of hurts, but thank you for the advice, Daniel.
I mean, I think it'll be
Um,
easier. I think like by the end of this week,
Yeah.
you can be ready to take on clients that are one-on-one and paying you on a retainer basis.
Okay. So what should be my next step for now then?
How are you currently getting clients, or what was your plan to get clients for any of this?
Yeah. My plan was for people to go through the course and think like, hey, I don't want to do this all myself, so I'd rather pay somebody to do it for me. And I thought that
I
was
love
going to be an easy sell because they know
I love that because
exactly what
yes,
to do.
you're right. As soon as they understand how much goes into this, they immediately don't want to do any of it themselves. But most of
Right.
them understand how much goes into it already. Like you don't need to give them a course for $20 for them to understand this is way too complex. I don't want to have any part of it. Most people in the contracting space know that they suck at ads and that they don't want to have anything involved with it. Like you're dealing with a problem aware, solution aware audience where they recognize that whatever you're doing is really tough and they don't want to get into it. Like you don't have to put them through a $20 course to be able to sell them on that idea. They already know that they suck at ads and that they're
Okay.
never going to be good at it. You can go straight for the kill with that.
Oh, okay. Oh boy. Okay. I have to do some thinking how to do some things.
How have you been getting clients so far?
Well, in the past, before I did this course thing, is I would run the ads by itself. I would get people calling. I would call contractors that are looking for that area. Like for example, I would run it in a random city and state. I would call them up and say, "Hey, look, I got Susan that wants a patio in the backyard. Hey, can you help them out?" And I would just forward them the leads. They would handle it, and then once I give them 3 to 5 leads, and then I would say, "Hey, look, I've been giving you leads for example. Did you close anybody?" If they say yes, then I would try to get them on the call. If they say no, pitch would be like, "Hey, I've been giving you a few of these. You gotta close some of these, and why don't we get into a conversation on how to get this started?" That's kind of my pitch.
I think that's great.
So it's
I
cold
think
calling essentially.
Yeah, I think that that's going to be good for getting you like a first few number of clients so that you have some income to work with so that you're not like stressed out personally about this because it sounds like that's what you were kind of asking about first. Do that to
Right.
get a few clients on a $1,200 per month retainer, however many you need to get to feel like really, really comfortable. And then
Okay.
immediately once you're there, let's go all in on content because I think content is what's going to get you from like 5, 10K per month, 200K per month. I don't think it's going to be realistic. You doing that cold calling, it's just going to take up too much of your time. But just to get that initial padding, so you're not super stressed out, so you can like, take a kind of backseat on this and take content seriously. I think that's going to be the step 2. But immediately, I want you to do exactly that to be able to get the clients that you know you can for a price point that's worth it for you. And maybe it's more than 1,200. Maybe it's 2,000 a month. I think it
Right.
depends on the client and it depends on the size of their business. And you can absolutely charge them more if they're a better business. You can change your pricing on the fly if they're a bigger business. Because if they require like $20 a day of Google ad spend, it's probably going to be a lot less involved than someone that requires $200 or $2,000 a day of Google ad spend. But you're probably going to be talking to a little bit of a range there, and I would just accommodate your prices accordingly.
Okay. Okay. Man, it's kind of crazy. I'm circling back what I was doing, right?
Because it sounds like it was working before, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate the context and advice, Daniel. And thank
Absolutely.
you for
Yeah, I think you could get moving on this like today though, if not tomorrow, and start like
Okay.
getting new retainer clients immediately. I would love to see you again same time next week. And if you're ready to start on content next week, that's fine. We can do that. If not, tell me how those first few sales calls go. I would love to probably adjust pricing because as soon as you get into content, we got to
Yeah.
raise that price up. But $1,200 a month is way, way too low for
Okay.
anything other than cold calling. Cold calling is going to give you the worst leads. When you start getting into content and warm leads, you can definitely get up into $5,000 per month plus range. And that's kind of the business that we recently put out of business that was, or about to put out of business, that's in the SEO space. They were doing SEO, Google Ads, pay-per-click stuff for local service contractors. And they were around the $5,500 per month price point. So I know it's possible. I know that they're successful. They're now unsuccessful for a completely unrelated reason, is that they were trying to go after some of our target people too. And it's a difficult space to be in. I strongly believe that their business is going downhill because they overemphasized on SEO, which is like a marketing keyword that a lot of the less sophisticated business owners just do not care about anymore. They're all interested in content. That's what they want to do. And there are certain ways that you position your offer to support with that while still doing what actually works on the back end, which is Google Ads for those types of businesses.
Okay. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Thank you.
It's a lot to think about. I know, one step at a time. let's get some clients in the door, get some money in your pocket, and feel more confident about the direction we're going here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Daniel.
Cool. Nice to meet you, Julius.
Nice to meet you too.
Awesome. Next up, Crystal. How's it going, Crystal? New this week. Nice to see you. So the goal is to successfully launch new books, Diary of a Cult Girl, and Vex City. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. How to Sell Your Home Without a Realtor. Realtor plan. Create a school course on coaching high-ticket clients on selling $500,000 homes at Tier 1 and $1 million homes at Tier 2. Your problem is content strategy. So you have too many ideas. I strongly agree. I do 100% agree with that problem. Timing release of very disruptive, edgy material as an educational comedian without getting banned. I'd love a little bit more context there.
Well, being raised in a cult does not really make you traditional. So I sold 75. Yeah, I've sold 75 million in real estate to date and had a lot of success. But the system is very broken. NAR's being sued. There's a ton of disruption going on in the industry. So I've, identified what problems there are. So now I want to educate on that. But at the same time, and what prompted all of this was the background. I had to go deal with the childhood issues, and going from poverty to massive wealth very quickly created a lot of, self-reflection. So that book was being written while I had that idea about Vexy. So those are the two main focuses. I've had viral content in the past. It doesn't take much to really explode, especially when it's disruptive, but I'm having trouble categorizing where to put what. So talking to Nick so far is keep the socials as is, but I still don't know how to time the release of all of this. So I do it simultaneously or categorize it?
I would categorize it, and I would see which one of these you can remove altogether. So you said you're currently making most of your revenue selling homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much of your revenue are you making telling other people or coaching other people how to sell homes?
We haven't done that. That's completely new.
Why would you move from something that's already really successful to something that's completely new and could not be successful?
Because the way it's done today will not be the way it's going to be done in 10 years. The market will shift this direction regardless. It's already happening. And right now in Florida, like the sales are down drastically for everyone because people are having a hard time justifying paying a $60,000 commission on the sale of $1 million home because price is double. So this is not just a problem that I have identified. This is a problem that no one has had a solution for. My commercial broker said it's a $500 million raise for the idea that I have. I'm just trying to beta test it in the market to build the education program. Education is my passion, and I'd rather go drive for Uber Eats at this point than to continue in real estate the way it is.
Okay, so you're fully committed to leaving real estate, leaving the career you've built, and going into coaching other realtors on how to be successful.
Not other realtors. I would rather work with the investors and the educated consumers than it takes 1,200 hours to get a barber's license in the state of Florida and 63 to get a real estate license. The competency level of most realtors, and this is talked about in all the circles around real estate. It's a very big problem. That is, NAR is being sued as a monopoly. The whole system is crashing down, and there's 6 different companies I've been tracking. I've done a ton of research on this for years. I put a lot of time and resources into this while I was in active production, identifying what problems there are. So I've written the book. It's already done, and it's ready to launch. I just want the coaching program to go with it.
Okay, so give me in your own words, refresh it one more time. What is the goal for you in 5 years? Like really, what is the one thing you want to do in 5 years if you had to pick one?
I want to be a motivational speaker and travel around teaching and educating.
Specifically, who would you be teaching and educating?
That's a good question.
I think the answer to that question is really going to determine which one of these we pursue more aggressively.
Right.
Just reading this, I thought it was realtors, but it's not realtors. It's people buying a home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, people selling a home. How to sell your
Selling.
home without a realtor.
Even more specific. I love that. Okay. Okay. Final answer. 5 years, speaker, educator for people trying to sell their home without a realtor.
Well, it all kind of, it does blend in because the people in real estate, there's Grant Cardone and all these big speakers. And I've been around a lot of these conventions and went to a bunch of these investor conferences. They're very, very money driven. And they have made a lot of money in that space, but that whole system is crashing because as the consumer is more educated with ChatGPT and how education is processed now, and that's how I found you. You are very articulate. You are very systemized in your training programs, right? No one is doing that for the consumer in real estate right now. All systems today in real estate, like Zillow and all these other companies, they're focused on realtors, like you said. But do you know the difference between a real estate agent and a realtor?
I don't even know, and I was in the real estate space. You're making me sound very uninformed right now. Could you tell me the difference really quick, just because I'm super curious?
A realtor is, it's like a trade association, NAR, the National Association. It's a marketing and branding concept. That's all it is. And they have to abide by a code of ethics that is enforced by a board who is competing. And it's the system is crashing itself regardless. So the first person to actually educate in this space, educate the consumer, because with AI capability today to write contract, Airbnb has proven people can list their homes. LegalZoom has made contract easy. You don't need a realtor. And right now, it solves a very big problem to do this. But my passion, that is my passion to disrupt the industry, but the motivation from it comes from growing up as a tenant, and like I was in the bottom 5% of poverty in a horrible situation. That's why once I got to this wealth level and saw what was happening, the system's broken, and that's what I want to. So the target audience will be people that are very humanistic and want to create change in this world.
Okay. I totally love the amount of expertise you're coming into this with. I think it's going to be very challenging for you to package that expertise and communicate it to people unless we get very, very incredibly specific with who we're trying to talk to. Yes, I totally agree. All of the individual experiences you have, all of this additional context can all be helpful, but we need a central goal, a central message before we say any of it. Otherwise, it's going to get lost in the sauce. And I think a lot of your viewers are going to end up like me right now, who is a little confused as to like what the one thing is. So in 5 years, speaker, educator, totally agree with that. There's tons of evidence of that being successful. I just need to know exactly to who and exactly like how that is going to look. So is it absolutely certainly going to be people that are trying to sell their home without a realtor? If yes, I think the entire first year of your efforts should only be spent helping those people. So no book on your Colts experience, even though I think it's extremely relevant, I don't think there's an audience for it because you don't have the audience yet. And unless you're trying to gain an audience on like previous people that were also in a cult, it's not going to be central to this main goal, which is helping that specific type of person that you just described. How to sell your home without a realtor? I do think that's useful. Do I think that the book needs to be published right now? Absolutely not. Not until you have the audience to consume it. A school course to coach high ticket clients on selling 500K homes, is that like selling it themselves without a realtor?
Right, and so it like for instance, a $1 million home, you're going to pay the listing agent an average of 2.5 to 3%. So if I sold that course at $5,000, and I've already written the book, and it's not that difficult to sell the house. The sellers have to do most of the prep themselves anyway. We just consult in 1 hour. If the problem is identifying the client, so I've already nailed down what type of client and what qualifications I need. You know, and there's a lot of psychological coaching in that, because, you know, if you're judgmental and you think you know everything, then you need to get a realtor and a psychologist. So, because most people shoot themselves in the foot when they're in this process of trying to sell their home. So I've had massive success in real estate, and this is why no one's doing it, because everybody's like, why are you shooting yourself in the foot? Why would you not just continue? Because the system's broken, and the people that need the real help, and the realtor competency level so terrible. Somebody needs to disrupt this and change it.
Yeah, I definitely think there's opportunity. I think you have to go about it in a very careful way because of how big the scope of this work is.
Yes. I
It's
agree.
like you need to raise the entire industry. And doing so with a nuclear bomb, while it will accomplish that, it'll make you seem like the enemy and it's going to be very unproductive. You need to do it in a way that seems diplomatic and that everyone agrees with you with. I would love to, like, strategically, just thinking very high level, position you as like the anti-realtor. Instead of going to a realtor, they should go to you if they're trying to sell their home, because you will save them literally tens of thousands of dollars, if not $100,000 plus. What does that look like in your content? I think the book might be helpful. I don't think that's immediate, regardless of whether you have it written, even if you had it published. It's not worth mentioning the book just because there's not an audience that already exists for it. I think you're going to struggle selling it until you have a little bit of momentum with your audience. I think a book launch, once you have an audience, is going to position you way better than having a book launch before you get an audience. Just speaking historically from a couple of the clients that we've had launch books. I think a school course, probably not. It sounds a little bit too canned and a little bit too, I think you're going to be much better off working with the client in that same kind of like realtor engagement, at least at the start. Until you have hundreds of clients, until you know exactly all the questions that they ask while you are a professional there, I think because of the nature of this being new and disruptive, I would want you to have a little bit better like understanding of all the different stuff that needs to come together. Again, I'm trying to make this sound like in a way that I'm not questioning your ability to sell houses or your experience in the industry, because obviously you were like way more experienced than almost anyone else in the real estate space as a whole, like categorically, but specifically doing this online, specifically coaching people over the internet to be able to sell their home. I think it would be a step backwards to do the school thing first. I think you should work with people one-on-one so that it's a clear distinction for them. I can either hire a realtor for tens of thousands of dollars, like they can do the math, they can find out how much it costs based on a percentage of selling their home, depending on the area they're in and what like the going rate is. Or they can hire you, and for, I don't know, $1,000, a couple thousand, however much it takes to be worth your time so that you can collect a really good testimonial from them. They can hire you directly to show them the steps and have it be very one-on-one, have it be very personalized, at least at the start. First couple of months, first half of the year, that way you can directly position yourself as a competitor to real estate agents. You can either hire a realtor or a real estate agent, or you can hire Crystal. And Crystal will get this done for a fixed fee, way less than what the realtor is going to charge you for sending a couple emails to the title company, which is all they really do, right? What are your immediate thoughts on that?
The reason I think the school course, I have spent years getting ready to do this. So I have a lot, like we are almost dialed in on the production of all of this content. That's why I got your course, because now we're at the final stages. We got the last bit of lighting coming in. I've got all the equipment. So, and what little testing I did with educational material, it goes a long way, because people are, that's why I was so successful, because I think like an educator, not a realtor, right? And I always say I don't identify as a realtor. I have a ton of humor. I have like Celeste Barber style humor, okay? And people like working with people who are disruptive and funny and, you know, all that. So I think that the school course would tie it all together, because I think it's going to be very, and that's very similar. I had a client over here this week who saw your course versus her. She just paid $8,000 for a coaching program, and she's like, "Your platform is so much better." I'm like, "It's school." So the professionalism level that people expect in real estate is that it's not one. If they want one-on-one, they're going to go hire a realtor. If they want professionalism in a format, they're looking for this education. And I ran a meetup for 3.5 years. I brought speakers in for. Done a lot of this already. I've done a lot of market testing already to see what the pain points are and what their issues are. So I think that it could be premature. What I think I need to do instead of opening up nationally is just do a beta test in my 2 MLSs that I'm in the Florida Panhandle, and just do it there, to then take 10 or 15 clients at first. And I'm thinking it's more like about $5,000 because it's still going to be a huge benefit to them, because
Yep.
it's not only teaching them to sell that one house. From then on, they're getting a ton of that. Plus, they're getting connections to my CPA, who's a real estate tax. They're getting a huge value when they connect into my circle, because I'm solving every pain point.
Yeah. I do think near term, the school solution is a good solution. I do agree with that. I think the first 5, 10 clients, I think should be done one-on-one unless you're extremely confident that you want to position yourself very different from a realtor. I thought, just based on my loose understanding of real estate, I definitely could be wrong with this. I thought you would want to be like two sides of a coin of a real estate agent versus Crystal. If you're saying it shouldn't even be a coin, it should be a coin versus dice situation where it's not one-on-one and it feels very productized. At the start, usually that's where people struggle, is selling something that seems one-on-one generally communicates a lot more value. Selling something that is canned, that is packaged, generally communicates less value. And I'll just tell you from my personal experience running this company, a lot of people love to jump on these calls one-on-one with me to work through these situations. And that is a massive value add, is knowing that you've got a lot of highly customized one-on-one support versus just the course material. While I think it's cool, I think that people generally value it less than the ability to come on and have their.
I would format it just like you're doing. There would be,
Okay.
I would be coaching just like I've run a meetup where
Yeah.
that's where
Oh, okay. So if that's the case, I would lead with that. I think the highest value add is like, it is going to be one-on-one,
Yeah.
like a realtor, just they're not going to charge you an exorbitant fee for almost nothing.
Right.
I would start there. I would start there for the first 5, 10 clients, get a really good feel for it before you build out a massive school program. We've had a lot of clients before that kind of model our business in the delivery, and they build out the school program first. And then they have a few clients come in through the school program, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I got to rebuild the whole school program, because what they expected their clients to value in the school program was not actually valuable. And what they didn't expect their clients to value, they actually had to double down on. I would just love to save you the time of like rebuilding the entire program by having a few beta testers, like you said, go through, work with you, and just really lean on what they think is valuable, because what they think is valuable is likely going to be very different than what you know as a professional is actually valuable to them and what they need to do. And so finding that discrepancy, finding a way to sell what they think they need, but also delivering on what they actually need to get the results. Two very different things. I'm always surprised by how different those things are in any new market that I go into. But I would love for you to just kind of start school and have it built out based on the experience that you gain from a few of those one-on-one beta testers. But yeah, I'm fine with that price point. I think that's great. And just like personally hearing about the offer, I think that would absolutely crush. I definitely think that like you could go national with it. I do think that there's a really big potential to turn this into a large education business. But I would love for you to stay very narrowly focused there, at least at the start, and not have the other stuff that you've got going on kind of like cloud the decision-making process or delay you.
It's just the origin story, but it's such a heartbreaking and complicated origin story. But it is my why. So everybody says put your origin story in there as your foundation. So that's why I led with that.
I think you could incorporate that into your content. Do I think that needs to be a large pillar? Maybe not. When people are coming to you, they're going to come to you, hopefully, to learn how to sell their home without paying tens of thousands of dollars to a realtor who just sends stuff to the local title agency anyways.
Right. I had mainly worked with high ticket investors. That's who taught me real estate. It wasn't the realtors and even most of the brokers. It was investors, and they are screenshotting my whiteboards. So I already know that the content, because you don't do 75 million in 3 years without, I know the subject matter very well. So I know that the course material is on track. I do agree that I need to stay super narrowly focused. So that's what I think I can still release the book, but not make. That's what I've got in the real estate book. It's just a mention, and here's the link if they want to. But I do think that the focus needs to be the real estate.
Yeah. Let me give you a specific example where I kind of messed this up with our company. Is I know deep down that I have a very high level of confidence about like what I need to teach for someone to be successful on social media. because I've done it before and I've done it for tons of people before. I know what the curriculum needs to be for them to have success. But what people come to me wanting curriculum on is
Right.
completely different. And what they want curriculum on, I know is not going to be successful.
Yeah.
However, to make the sale, to say, yes, we teach this, we have to adjust certain parts of our course to like really support that, while also saying, hey, this is actually the main stuff over here. What you thought you wanted, it's not going to help as much as what you actually need right here. So an example of that is our AI scriptwriter.
Right.
I don't think AI is going to do anywhere near as good as your professional experience. But we have to offer AI because everyone wants AI. So how we position that AI is like, this is a good place to get ideas. You should not take it word for word. You should not grab the AI script and just read it. It won't make you famous. It's not going to make you sound super smart. It's going to be AI and everyone has access to it. Yes, ours is kind of the best in the industry. You can use it for idea generation. But what you actually need to focus on is being the expert you are and modeling the ideas the AI gives you with your specific relevant context. That's one of those changes that like it's made us an incredible amount of money. I wouldn't have thought out the gate that I would ever offer AI. I was actually strongly against it. But yes, doing it in that specific way because I learned my audience has made us a lot of money.
It's a credibility factor. Yeah, that's very helpful.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's stuff like that that like until you've actually sold to hundreds of people this specific product, it's not going to be very aware. So just recognize that yes, you are the authority. You know more about this than any of your customers will. But unfortunately, your customers know more than you do about what exactly they're willing to pay for.
Right. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Cool.
Thanks.
Either way, very excited for you. That sounds super cool. I was in real estate myself before as an investor. I bought all but one of my homes without a realtor, and I totally agree. It is so stupid.
It is. And even so many of the realtors say that, but they make so much money doing what they do. The top ones, but they have gatekeeped it so bad, and they really ticked me off when I had a viral listing and gave me an ethics violation that 2 of the people on the ethics hearing committee and 50 of the top 25 realtors had done the exact same thing that they're fining me for. So I've had it.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Excited for you.
Thanks.
All right. I'm going to calm down after that one. Benedict, next. 3 quick questions. Is it okay to make imperfect or random posts between the ones that are filmed specifically using Viral Coach directions? It's okay. I don't think it's going to help you, so I'd wonder why you'd want to do it in the first place. And then should I stick to a theme style format for my posts that have consistent look in my accounts, or could I post a variety? I do recommend a variety. I think keeping your options open, experimenting with lots of different styles is going to be helpful, but you should have some semblance of quality or thoughtfulness in all of the content. And then your last question, when reposting content, do we delete older posts? I wouldn't bother. YouTube is the only one that I have specific guidance on. YouTube's content recognition system is amazing because they're YouTube, they're Google. Don't repost content on YouTube. Reposting content on all other platforms is just fine. Don't sweat that. I don't know if you have any immediate thoughts or follow-ups after that.
No, that is great. Yeah. So for the second question of sticking to the style format, yeah, that just came up because most of the people who are successful in the space, they have very similar styles. So they either in the magic kind of area, they either sit down, perform for the camera, they either just stick to gambling demonstration, they either stick to a specific thing, or they just stick to POV doing street style magic, you know. So then, and they are successful that way because people follow them and they know what they're following, kind of thing. So I thought maybe there's something I need to do, but I just want to hear your thoughts. So I'm glad to hear that variety is all right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the purpose of variety is, one, finding out what your audience likes. It sounds like you already kind of know based on like what other people in your space are doing. But 2 is finding out what you like. What kind of content is easy for you to make? What kind of content do you like making? What content is fast to make, where you can sit down for like an hour or 2, do all the content, do a whole bunch of reaction videos, for example, and then just not have to think about content for another month or 2. That's an example of something that like kind of favors your style of content creation. Or if you love doing the street style stuff. I've got a couple of people who are really successful right now doing street interviews. They love going out for a whole day interviewing a bunch of people, and that's like 2 months worth of content. Or they love like, this is kind of silly, but like dressing up and doing skits is like, they think that's really funny. And so they tested that, they found they like that more. That's the specific style of content that they prefer to do. So I would definitely experiment, not just to find out what works well with your audience, because it sounds like you're informed there, but to understand what works well with you and your style of content creation.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's a bit there, but yeah, I just don't want to take too much of your time now.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm here for. This is my favorite hour or 2 hours sometimes of the week. So if there's anything else.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, so you actually made a really good point, which is like I enjoy both this posting the street stuff because people want to see a lot of the street stuff as well. But I also enjoy doing the home stuff. And whenever I find myself focusing on just either one, I find myself slightly miserable because I'm like, oh, you either get burnout doing this one specific style, because to give you a context, that the street style is actually a lot more efficient, more time saving than the one I film at home, because stuff you perform specifically for the camera has to be perfect. Like there cannot be any flashes, and it takes so long. But the street style is just boom, you perform once, it's that length of the performance, you get a video straight away. So that's a lot quicker. But the inertia to change, go out, go film, that's a lot more than there's a I just literally just yesterday done up the studio as per your instructions, all the gears here. So so finally I'm able to film. So those two are the main things that I'm wrestling with, and I might do both, and see how that goes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how they perform. Yeah.
Yeah. And for the first question, the reason I ask about the random posts is because every now and then get a idea or more random kind of a video of me performing, for example, and it may not strictly kind of match with. I didn't create the content with the intention of but I just have this. Should I just post it, just to see, or should I leave it up?
In that case, thank you for the additional context. Yes, post, because it sounds like it's very relevant to what you're doing, your industry. I was thinking if you're going to make a funny joke post or like a personal post or like something about your dog, there's really no reason to. But if it's like outside of the very immediate things that we've talked about on your strategy, but you've seen it work for someone else or you're particularly interested in it, yes, I would test that out.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I just thought of one more thing, right? I was asking the coaches this, but I haven't really got an answer. But so with the style of content that I'm shooting, it's a lot more time consuming than just reading a script kind of thing, and the editing of it as well is very different in the sense that you can't just cut out little pieces, because in this area it's a consensus that if you cut out, it's like you're cutting out the secret, or like you miss certain things. So it's usually one shot, especially ones that you film specifically for the camera. So I was just wondering, is it okay to approach it in a way that, I get as much feedback as I can before filming it, and then I film the thing, and then I can ask, and I will go back and ask like, what's your feedback for this? But I'm just going to post it already, because if you give me something to edit, it's probably a complete reshoot of the entire thing because I can't edit it. So is there any thoughts on there, or you think it's all right to go down this path?
Yes, let's do that. My thought is we do want to have a feedback loop open. So I totally respect you not wanting to reshoot the entire thing. Edit it, post it, send us the posted video before you film the next one. Let us give you feedback on how that one did, so that when you go to reshoot the next one, it can be different based on our guidelines.
Okay, yeah, perfect. That's the plan I have also. So no, that's great.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Next up, Hugin snowmelting.ca. I think that's Canada. You guys have a lot of snow there too. Awesome. So the goal is to become a resource in the heated pavement industry and sell subscriptions to the landscape trade, offering them training, tools, and products. The problem is you've been at this for 2 months creating content with the current system. We are not generating views. Your potential solution is, do we switch up the angle, creating the content, having a hard time justifying the amount of effort creating content at the moment. Okay, so I think the goal should actually be to get more views, to get more engagement, to get potential clients from the content. The problem is that the content you're posting now isn't getting you that result. And I think the solution, I do agree, either changing up the style of content or potentially looking at diagnosing like why it's not performing, at least, so that we know whether we need to change content or whether we know we need to change something about the content. And instead of pivoting the entire content strategy as a whole, like maybe changing a few details would help. There was a recent client we worked with where the content was amazing. He was a professional at like career placement. And everything he said in his thing, it was like tech careers or something in the corporate space with these large FAANG companies, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. The only problem was how he opened the videos. Like the hook on all of his videos were terrible. They sounded AI scripted. It was really bad. It was like the worst hook you could imagine. But the whole rest of the content was great. It was him. It was him being knowledgeable. It was him being an expert. The only thing that was wrong was the hook. The style of video was great. The presentation, amazing. The call to action at the end, perfect. The hook was wrong on every single one of his videos, so none of the videos worked. So we didn't need to change up the angle of the videos. We just needed to change one small part. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to diagnose here. Could you actually, and I would love to review this myself, but could you actually drop this as a post in the community? I would love to have some of my other team members also review it and just kind of collaborate and have a more comprehensive answer for you than just something that I would be able to give like in a minute or two here on call. I would love to just take this a little bit more seriously, review all the content.
I would appreciate that. I guess what, before even learning what top of funnel was and bottom of funnel, we were just posting the content that we thought was valuable to the people that wanted to learn. But now that we start thinking, how do we make it so mainstream? I don't know if that's what's making us feel less genuine, or we come off just way too like, I don't know. I honestly would never start my videos the way that I am starting them now because of the fact that we're learning about top of funnels and hooks and how to try to get people's attention. So I don't know. I would definitely appreciate you guys weighing in, because like I said in that message, what's throwing me off is the amount of time that we actually spend producing the content and carefully editing it. And I actually didn't know this, but I've been working with a team. I have the editor that we hired through school, and then I have my videographer that films us, that uploads the content for him, and then he's the one that prepares the scripts using Rick and some inspirations, and then he tells me, and then we pick this and pick that, and we come up with which I think are decent ideas for videos. And then but we spend so much time trying to communicate what it should look like to the editor that at the end of the day, we're spending so much energy. And then when you post it and it's like, man, it got a couple hundred views, and it's like, and then you do another one, and it seems to be consistent in that way. So I'd love for your team to dive in to help us and guide us so that the energy that we do put in, becomes fruitful as we really start relying on the views to drive our sales. Because the next step for us is like we prepared a VSL, we've got a big video on it. We now have to create the content that's going to drive the traffic to that, which hopefully will be the moment where people will book a call.
Yeah. Okay, and I love that you've done some of this posting already. That's very helpful for me because I can look at historically what has gone up and what has either performed or not performed, or if anything has not performed, be able to just better understand the situation. So that's great. That you're starting off at a way better position than someone that's brand new. That being said, I think you're also probably in a position where you need a little bit more support, a little bit more guidance. So I would love to have my team just do a very thorough front to back, top to bottom, side to side review of kind of everything you've got posted so far. If you could include all of your socials for me, if you could include that funnel that you've got built out so far, what that looks like. I'll send you a custom Loom video. It'll be a little bit more comprehensive as a response there, but I'd love for my team to also jump on it and give you a couple of different varying opinions. I'm sure they're going to have some things that they know that I haven't seen yet.
Okay, sounds good. We'll do that. I have another question, if I may. We're
Please.
preparing our offer for these contractors, right? And I've always put myself in the shoes of the contractor, trying to tell myself, okay, what would I be willing to spend for this value? And I see the value as great because what we've created was able to save us a year's salary on some employees and make us more productive and prevent any errors from happening on our job sites. There's so many things that are so valuable. But at the end of the day, the contracting trade is very, like, I could do it myself type of attitude. And I feel like the higher the price tag, the more reluctant they will be to trust that or to give it a try. So, but then again, I don't want to be swamped with people who are ready to use our resources because the price is too low, and at the same time putting it up high. So is it just at the beginning, do you just try with your gut feeling and then change your offer down the road? Like, is that a credible thing to do? Like, won't people track, you know, a couple of months ago you were doing it for this, now you're doing it for that? How do you justify?
So as long as you have, you know, an ethical sales process, no, I don't think people are going to track that and pay much attention to first it was this, now it was this. The second thing is I strongly agree. In the contracting space, a lot of people do have that I'm going to do it myself mentality with some of the things that I think you try to sell them on. That is potentially a benefit for you. So I totally agree. If you charge too high of a price, they're like, I'm just going to do it myself. Yes, you're 100% right. But what's also true is that if you charge a low amount, they will bite more on it. But with a lower amount, you can lean into that do-it-yourself nature. You can offer them a 100% done-for-you implementation, which is at a very high price, or you can offer them a lower one. And you can tell them about both. And they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to do the cheaper thing because I'm just going to do it myself anyway. Perfect. Now I can decrease the deliverables by a lot on this cheaper thing, and you can just do it yourself. And now it's not a hassle to have a whole bunch of customers at that lower price point because you're not doing a bunch of done-for-you delivery because they said they want to do it themselves. Easy.
Got it. Got it.
But
Okay.
yes, I love that awareness of your audience. I strongly agree with that awareness of your audience based on my expertise. Like, yes, that is true. That is correct. And I would just angle it as that. Instead of trying to fight it, just lean into it. They want to do stuff done by themselves. They want to take initiative. Just give them the tools to be able to do it at a decreased price point with way less deliverables, way less commitment from your side.
But give them the option. That way the people that are interested for that,
Yep.
they'll go for that. Okay.
Yep.
And
And it's a great price anchor. It's to show them, like, here's what it's actually worth when it's implemented. And this is what I would charge to do it myself. If you want to do it yourself, you can have it at a massive discount and just reap the cost savings by doing it yourself. Yeah.
okay. As we're building out our sales process, we are thinking that I'm curious to know what you did when you first started, and because obviously I was attracted by your video and I ended up on your VSL, and then I ended up booking the call, and then on my second call I ended up agreeing to move forward. But I was wondering, at which point did you decide that you were going to put a sales rep as the person that's going to take that first call? Like, in the beginning, did you do them yourself? And then eventually when you got swamped and you booked your calendar, you started? Because I'm also very mindful of my time these days, and I don't want to lose a sale. And I'm thinking to myself that in the beginning, I'm going to be the one taking the first call to show credibility and to show that, like, listen, you saw me in the video, now it's with me that you're talking, and I'll believe I'll be able to convert more. But I got to be mindful of how much time I'm gonna be doing that for, you know?
Yeah. Let me give you the answer, and then let me give you what I would do in your case. And let me just pull up the answer. When did we do that? I had a sales rep. I hired my first sales rep when we were doing $250,000 a month. We scaled really quickly though. That was our second full month in business. So first full month in business, we did just a little over 100,000 a month. That was just me selling. And then second month was 252, and that was when I hired the first sales rep. And then from there, we scaled quite a bit. Immediately though, how I would answer that question of like, my time is very valuable, I don't want to be wasting a bunch of time on calls with tire kickers, is just don't let tire kickers on your call. Have some kind of qualification process for them to even get on a call with you. Yes, there should be a qualification process before you work with them, before you let them buy, but there should also be a qualification process before they even get on a call with you. So make sure that they have the budget to invest. What size is their business? You know, you probably recognize already what types of businesses you can help the most by revenue. So if they're doing less than $2,000 a month, if they're not even a contractor, but like some guy that wants to start a construction business, they probably have no business getting on a call with you. They're just going to kick your tires. So DQ based on that. DQ based on their marketing budget. If you know historically, categorically, people that spend less than $1,000 on marketing aren't looking for business expansion and new product lines, kick those guys off the call. Have a questionnaire, a survey before they get on a call with you. And if they answer the wrong questions, don't attend that call. Just delete that call if your calendar is saying they're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Understand what type of products they already sell. So if you do snow melting and they have no experience doing any kind of landscaping or paving, if they're only a GC, kick those guys off. If they only do roofing, get those guys out of here. If they do anything that's not like something that you'd be really excited to get on a call for, make sure that you have a screening application and just delete those calls. That will increase the amount of friction in your funnel. So yes, the total number of leads to sales you make is going to decrease. You will lose a little bit of revenue opportunity because maybe a general contractor that otherwise would get kicked off, if you did take a call with them, maybe you could sell them on it and they'll start a new side arm of their business to explore this new opportunity that you got them so hyped about. You will lose money by adding friction in the funnel, but you will greatly improve the amount of revenue you make per hour spent on calls.
Correct.
And that's what I did at the start, is if I just open it up to anyone that wanted to talk to me, I would have been on calls every single hour that I was awake. But because I was able to add enough friction onto it, I was able to condense my time on sales calls to about 6 hours a day. And it was 6 days a week. So I was on a lot of sales calls, which gave me a lot of justification to be able to put a full-time sales rep in. Because you know, when I wanted to hire that out, I can hire it out as a 40-hour-a-week position instead of like this part-time thing that is difficult to staff for. No one wants to be a part-time sales rep taking only a couple calls whenever they come in. They want to jump into a process that's already well established and ideally lucrative, so that they're not wasting their time either, you know?
No, agreed. That's also how we were actually tackling it. We were talking to people to come in on a part-time, strong commission, but commission only based, but yeah, I think you're right. We tightened down the funnel, reduce the friction, like you said, take the calls myself. Once we got to a point where, you know, it's flowing, then switch over.
And the cool thing is, once you start adding friction in the funnel, you can also start removing friction from the funnel. So if you add friction to the funnel, and if you build up your calendar to where you're part-time sales calls, like 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, all you do is sales calls, once you remove the friction from that funnel, it will be a full-time job. So when you bring the first sales rep in, maybe remove one of those disqualifying questions. Maybe make it easier for people to get on a call with the sales rep. It'll give them more repetitions. It'll give them more total leads. They can practice selling your offer They can have a bunch of weird edge cases come through. You can give them more leads total. And it's not necessarily going to be a waste of their time because there is an opportunity for them to close one of those. But it's just not a type of call that you want to be spending your time on as the owner of the business.
Yeah. I guess it's just about really focusing on what would be those questions, because we are trying to empower contractors, taking them from competing with everybody else and giving them a niche that they can focus on and become a specialized contractor in their area. So even someone that is not really successful can still benefit from this should they be willing to invest in themselves. But I get your point 100%.
And you're right. You're absolutely right. It's at the start, it's going to be hard to know who to disqualify, who to qualify. I would start by just measuring. So put those questions in place and just measure. Look at what kind of leads you get. If you for a whole week are getting a bunch of leads with business owners that are making less than $5,000 a month, and after 20 of those calls, you're like, oh, I'm sick of these people that are like brand new to construction. They always ask the worst questions and they always kick my tires and they always waste my time. Then you have enough evidence after measuring the data to DQ all of those. And then you can only talk to people making more than $5,000 per month in their construction business, or whatever that income bracket needs to be. But at the start, I would agree, it's going to be really difficult for you to know who to qualify, who to disqualify, without having a lot of evidence of like what calls are good and aren't. If you're just taking calls from everyone right now, it's going to be hard to know. But once you start getting a few of those applications through and can match an application to a call and understand what that quality feels like, then you can start putting some disqualifiers in place and just having an assistant or yourself manually deleting all the calls under a certain income bracket.
Yeah, got you. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I know there's a lot more people waiting, so thank you very much.
I don't think there are. I think it's just the three of us on call. But yeah, I have no problem. I think it's because we went a whole 53 minutes over. But yeah, no problem at all. Would love to do that. Drop that in for my team. I'll get you an answer as well and kind of just like top to bottom full funnel review. But I'd love for them to have their opinion voice as well.
Yeah, and Daniel, while I have you here, because from what I understood, because my editor, my content creator has been for the last 2 months, he's been working for a whole month with the editor. And it was my understanding that the editors are supposed to edit the content and then post it on all of your social media platforms. Is that not the arrangement with these editors?
Yeah, generally is they edit the content and they post them across all platforms with Business Social.
So the guy that I've been working with, I mean, he was selected because of his supposed good quality in edits compared to the 2 other options that were presented.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not even posting for us. And and we're reviewing his content all the time.
Did you ask him to post?
Sorry?
Did you ask him to post?
Yeah, I mean, that was the mandate. And like I guess I'm speaking on behalf of my colleague, but yes, he was supposed to cut and post. So, so yeah, I don't know if we should try a new editor, give somebody else a try, but I feel like starting all over again with someone is like another, a time-consuming effort. But
It's not. Easy solution for you here. Let him know that he can either post the content like he was supposed to, or we're going to replace him with someone else who will, because that is the expectation. That they come in, they edit the content, and they post the content. And because you're not starting from scratch, because this isn't your first video that you're posting on social media, but this is probably going to be your 30th, if not your 60th, the new person that comes in is going to have a historic base of content to go off of. They're going to ramp super quick. They're not going to have any problem at all getting right back up to speed of where your current editor is. But again, I would give them that kind of ultimatum, is like, you either need to start posting the content like you were supposed to, or we're going to replace you with someone who will, and my team can absolutely handle that replacement for you.
yeah, I'd appreciate that. I've been hands-on for the last week with this person because my guy was away for a while. And I think you have to not only be able to edit, use the softwares, but you have to have a certain level of understanding of what we're doing here. You have to interpret, and you have to make it visual for the public to see. And in a tasteful way, because we have our own style. We want things to be classy, and but he's supposed to know that, because there were some videos where like, okay, this is excellent, but when I talked to the guy, he's like, yeah, but I edited with him like 6 reviews before we got to that. So and that's what I'm just learning now.
Yeah, I think it depends on the level of complexity of the edit. And I will say that's a learned process. That's something where no matter how good the person you get is, they're not going to be able to compete on that level unless they're stateside, and sometimes even unless they're like industry specific knowledge. That's you're not going to get that anywhere unless they are in your office and you're paying them a US salary or a Canadian salary if you're in Canada. The benefit to people working overseas is that you can get them at like 1/50th of the cost of what it would usually take, that level of competency on the editor. But it is a trade-off for complexity. So if you're talking about very niche things, if they're very technical, and I'll be able to tell after reviewing your content today, if you are going very technical, it's going to be tough no matter what. And I'll give you an example. When I first started in real estate with my editors, there was this really silly thing where I was talking about cap rate of a rental property. And the dude literally edited a cap onto my hat that was like 13.4%. I'm like, that is not a cap rate. I have no clue. I see how you got that, but that is not what a cap rate means. And I had to correct him. But like, unless I paid someone that was like really good at real estate already and charging me hundreds of dollars an hour for an edit, they wouldn't have known what a cap rate was. And I need to do better at like either communicating that person or leaning on like their development to understand what these common use complex terms mean and how that integrates into my content. So like, yes, there will be some back and forth. I think it's really difficult to avoid completely if your editor is overseas, but just recognize that the little bit of time that you have to spend explaining complex details is well worth the cost savings in most cases to an editor that's overseas, maybe less aware of your industry on day one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think on the last video, I said the word permeable pavement, and I sent him a link. I said, research permeable pavement before you do any edits. But I don't know, he still didn't get it, and he just put a drain, like a plumbing drain, So I think, I don't know, we have some work to do. And because my editor was like, Eric, let me just do the editing myself. But I'm like, I wanted to leverage the guarantee that Daniel's team is giving us, and the only way we could do that is with their editors. So that's where we opened the door to that. Because had it not been that, we would have just continued, doing it with the guy that's filming with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, so we got some work to do. How do I send you guys a message in the community and I tag you in it?
Yeah, just post
An
it in the
audit of
community.
our page. Okay.
Yeah, full audit, top to back. Why is this not working? Daniel said he can help out, and that'll give context to my team as well as I'll step in later today and give you a full review there.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Hope you have an awesome week, guys.
Thank you.
I'm out. I'm gonna go get some lunch.
Enjoy.
Thank you.